Welcome to the podcast, A Drink with Derek. Follow comedian Derek Richards on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel and watch all episodes of the podcast. Now grab a drink and join your host, Derek Richards.
You should absolutely grab a drink and join me right now. Derek Richards here in Las Vegas. Welcome to the podcast, A Drink with Derek. Make sure you go online, go to YouTube, and find all the episodes of A Drink with Derek. There's all kinds of good stuff on there. We've got Roy Wood Jr. from The Daily Show. NFL Hall of Famer Drew Pearson is one of our episodes as well. Tons of fantastic comedians. Again, go to YouTube, type in A Drink with Derek, and all the stuff will magically pop up. It's also going to be on all your podcast platforms as well. I'm going to be in Traverse City, Michigan, coming up January 28th and 29th over at Traverse City Comedy Club. Get a chance, head in over there and see one of the shows Friday and Saturday, January 28th and 29th. All the information is available on my website, DerekRichards.com. Huge thanks to our sponsor, VegasSportsAdvantage.com. I love these guys. I took 4 of their hockey picks last night, and I won 3 out of 4. So I won some dough, and you can too. Go to their website. They do all the legwork. They do the research on the games, everything. NHL, NBA, college basketball, MMA, Major League Baseball coming up, NFL playoffs. Again, VegasSportsAdvantage.com. And if you type in the promo code Derek35, you can get 35% off any of their pick packages. You don't spend a ton of money, spend a few bucks. But at least if you're going to invest in something, if you're going to spend money at the sports book to bet on a game, at least use your head. And now you can save a couple of bucks. Derek35 gets you 35% off all of the packages. Grab a copy of my album, Double Down, too, while you're screwing around online. Available on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon. Recorded at Laugh-In Comedy Cafe in Fort Myers, Florida, where I will be in April. Looking forward to seeing those guys again, Jamie and Eric and the crew. And also the Irish Comedy Tour cranking up here, starting March 3rd in Old Saybrook, Connecticut. Rolling all over the place up in the Northeast, heading down to Florida for a little bit of a stretch with myself, Derek Keene, Damon Liebert, and now we've got a couple of new guys hopping on board. Mike Malone is going to join us starting in Florida. We have Patrick Garrity, who's going to be with us up in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, Schenectady, New York, and Peekskill, New York. TheIrishComedyTour.com is our website. Go there and get all the ticket information. Also see our special on Amazon Prime before you come out to the show, and we'll see you at one of the venues. My guest today, super excited, comedian out of Denver, Colorado right now. He's got an album out called Toxic Masculinity, which is available on iTunes. He has a podcast called Reemasculate. You've seen him on Comedy Central. He is a regular here at the Laugh Factory in Las Vegas. On-air radio personality who picked up 3 CMA awards. Again, his album Toxic Masculinity, available on iTunes. Snag that. Find him online, SteveMcGrew.com. He is here with me now. Steve Mudflat McGrew on A Drink with Derek. Check him out.
That's part of the problem. People need to color more. I think that's all you really need is a coloring book. People are stressed in this day and age. Just color more. Smoke a joint. Color. And here's what you need to do. Seriously. When you come home from work and you're angry or stressed from work, just take off all your clothes and lay naked on the kitchen tile and color. You gotta be naked. It helps. Trust me. You ever seen your dog come in the summer? You ever watch your dog's balls hit the ceiling? He'll chill the fuck right out. Man, if you lay on the kitchen tile, naked and colored, your dog will look at you like. See, that coloring book is all you need, but they don't tell you that at the doctor, man. You watch all these commercials on TV, they're trying to sell you drugs, all kind of drugs. Drugs that you, ask your doctor if this is right for you. No, just ask, do I need a coloring book? But see, they will never tell you that. You'll never go into your doctor plop down on that little sheet of plastic paper or whatever. What seems to be the problem? I'm stressed at work. It's all I can do to keep from choking the shit out of my boss. And I'm about to jam a pencil in that bitch's eye that I work with. Oh, you need a coloring book. I'm going to write you a prescription to the Dollar Tree. And you want to get the 64 box of Crayolas, but the sharpener. 64 boxes for yeah. With the sharpener, God. Damn, you gotta have the sharpener. When I was a kid, I just loved to sharpen Crayolas when I was a kid. I might be retarded. I don't know. But I actually just love every one of my Crayolas was sharp and in the right order. I'm a gangster.
Steve Mudflat McGrew in Denver, Colorado right now. Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Good to see you. How are you?
Doing well, man. Great to have you. You are in. I love this shot of you right now in your basement, or as we called it, your bunker with a unicorn in the background. And my the producer Sean had made the comment. He goes, oh, it's the unicorn in his bunker. I'm like, that would be a great thing to hang in a bunker. I mean, because then you're happy. You don't feel like you're hiding from radioactive fallout. You're like, oh, there's a unicorn in here. And he made a comment. He goes, the only thing missing is a poster that says hang in there.
That's on the other side of the wall. Got the kitty on the branch?
Yes. How funny would that be to have that hanging in a nuclear fallout bunker? Hang in there.
That would be awesome. Yeah, this protects me from radon or whatever they have in the basements. That's what that does.
That's beautiful. I love it. That's you, knowing you and the character and the person that you are, and seeing a unicorn hanging behind you absolutely cracks me up. Which actually, your basement, we were talking about this before we started recording. By the way, Steve McGrew, find him online, stevemcgrew.com. The podcast is Reemasculate. I'm going to ask you about that here in a second. But you're in like your set. You know, like your basement is wife proof, because you showed me all the stuff that you have down there, and we were talking about this. You're like,
this is several.
That's an ultimate man cave for you.
Yeah. Well, if you like, you see this is behind me is a set. Over in the corner, there's a 1950s pink dryer that I filmed Liberal Larry videos. Right here, as you can see, there's a big screen TV, 90s TV with an 8-track player. That's actually another set where I film a guy that thinks he's like a 1990s country and western star. So my whole basement's I guess 4 or 5 different sets.
I love it. That's so funny. I want to see you do another character called Conspiracy Theory Carl.
Yeah. You want to check him out?
Oh yeah, I want to see Conspiracy Theory Carl. I've seen your video clips before on Instagram and Twitter, and people need. Here's the thing. I've never met your wife, but I want to see her come home from work one day, and you're in the kitchen putting this crap together. So this is conspiracy. This is conspiracy.
Go
for it.
This is conspiracy theory call right here. Hey, listen. Here's the deal. You know, when you talk on your cell phone, you get spit comes out of your mouth, off your lips and onto that cell phone. It's all over that cell phone. Well, then you go, hey, I need to upgrade. Or they send you a thing, you're available for an upgrade. So you take it and you give that cell phone back. They ship that thing to China. Now, that spittle off your lips is on that cell phone, and they got your DNA. China has got your DNA, and they're cloning people, and they're sending back liberal versions of your family. That's why you can't talk to your mom or dad sometimes, because you're like, God, when did you turn into such a psycho liberal? China did it. Can you help them with your spittle?
This pandemic was harder on some people, wasn't it? You've actually been doing these characters. I know you've been doing a Liberal Larry character for a while.
Oh, Liberal Larry's been going about. Well, he started the day after Trump was elected. I did a video in my hotel room. It wasn't dressed like Liberal Larry, but it was the character. It was the character, and that video got over 10 million views. It was just like, oh my God, white supremacist is in the White House. He's going to make us get jobs and all this kind of, And that was the day that started.
Now, was there any inspiration for that character? Was there somebody that you ran into, any one person in particular, and you went, you know what? If I did a character of this person, it's going to be hysterical?
Well, kind of, sort of. I had seen several videos on Facebook of people crying because Hillary had lost. And it was just, oh my God, it's over, that kind of thing. So it was a kind of, because I've always done in my stand-up, when I needed it, like, somebody that didn't, I was fishing. Ew, who wants to touch that nasty, slimy thing? That kind of, so I always had that kind of character. So I thought, all I got to do is slap a pink hat on it, and he's timely now.
That's classic. I love it. You are. I'm gonna talk about this right now because you're Republican, obviously, and anybody that follows you on social media knows that. Has that been the obvious question? Would be, how has that hurt you in a business that we are in, which is dominated by liberals? But I'm going to flip the script and ask, how has that helped you being Republican?
That's an awesome question there, Mr. D, because everybody always asks the other. It's helped me because there's a lot more of us than they wanted us to believe there was. They're constantly saying, this is going to hurt your career. You're going to lose, fans and followers. And yes, I did. Maybe I lost 20, 30,000. That which sounds like a lot on Facebook because I had a lot of followers because of that video. But in the meantime, I've gained millions of fans and followers because more people have played my video clip. Like yesterday, I had a Liberal Larry video go national with talk radio. So I'm being exposed more now than Hollywood ever did for me. Even though when I was doing MTV half hour, I wasn't getting the emails that say, man, I heard you yesterday on the radio. That was awesome. You got a new fan. So it's helped a lot.
Yeah, people seem to think that cancel culture really ends up destroying some people. And I think what it does is, and I had an instance, and I had shared that with you a few months back, where some left-wing activists kind of hopped on board some of the posts that I had put out there that, and I was labeled instantly as, anti-POTUS, anti-LGBTQ, racist, anti-military, anti-vax. I mean, all kinds of stuff that they want to throw out there, all these accusations that are completely not true. I'm not anti-vax. I'm vaccinated. I know you're vaccinated. We have to be for the jobs that we do. And I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-mandate.
Well, I was just going to say, I just know you as anti-sobriety. That's the only person I know.
Exactly. But I think people seem to think that they freak out when the cancel culture thing gets a grip on them. But in the end, it really ends up opening you up to a bunch of new different fans. And really, whether it goes one way or the other, although there really isn't any, I can't think of a right-wing cancel culture group. That seems to be sort of a leftist thing that they seem to own and they can have.
Yeah. Well, they want to cancel, like get you destroyed. Like, you'll never work again, this kind of thing. And I think we kind of go, you know what? I don't think I need to buy a Coke anymore. We're not out to cancel anybody. We just go, I'm not going to buy that product. And we're not on there going, do not never go to such and such. I'll never shop at Target again. You're like, yeah, well, they got good prices on some stuff I like, but I just won't buy products that I don't like from there.
Sure. No, exactly. I think it's I think it's fantastic that it has opened up your fan base the way that it has. I think that's fantastic. Everybody watches you on stage. You're just funny. There's certain things there's certain little comments that you throw in there, little asides, because I'm paying real close attention when I'm watching your act. But as a rule, you don't go on stage and just start slamming Democrats.
No, because I've always believed, and even though I got in trouble back in the '90s for not being a fan of Bill Clinton, I mean, I lost work in the '90s because I wouldn't be supporting. I thought, he lied. He needs to go. He needs to, I've always been
Right.
this way. So, but I've always thought you're not supposed to divide the audience in a club. They came to laugh. That's one of the reasons I can't watch any of the late night stuff anymore. I don't want to watch somebody just slam my president or me for an hour. That's why Carson was so great. Each side got both. You got it both in the same night. You know, but I don't want to be political. I just want to come from a conservative angle. Like, you've seen
Right.
my show, so I talk about things that are
Yeah.
right and wrong.
No, exactly. I think, and I'm sure that's on your latest album, Toxic Masculinity. When did that come out?
That came out right last year during the lockdown, which was awesome because I was like, thank God I've got some income. It was perfect timing for me because that was the only income I was getting because, ships were done, clubs were down, but little mailbox money never hurt at all.
No,
But
that's not bad. And you can go ahead. I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say, you're exactly right about the album. The reason I went with the Toxic Masculinity it is because it's basically all about growing up, things that we used to do, how we were raised as a kid, what I did to my kid. And part of it, this album, I've told people, is a lot of new, but I went back and rewrote some older stuff from the '90s where I was going, look, I see this coming. This, you got to pay attention. You're not paying attention to me,
I hope people need to grab a copy of this on iTunes. And again, go to your website, stevemcgrew.com, to find out where you just go there and click the links and find Steve on all the social media platforms. You got a podcast. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My podcast, Reemasculate. But I was going to say, what I love about that album cover that I had shot was Toxic Masculinity, and I'm holding a teacup poodle in the, how manly is that? Like, come on.
I saw that, which is, well, what's so funny, I was going to say Toxic Masculinity, and then you and I have had coffee on a number of occasions, and watching you order a coffee at a coffee shop is hilarious. Because normally, like anybody who sees you and sees your act and sees you online would think that you're going to go up to a coffee shop and go, just make it black, strong,
and
thick. If it's been sitting there for 3 days, even better. So I want you to order. I'm the barista. I want you to order your coffee the way you would order it right now. If I'm your barista, go for it.
Hi, Mohammed. I'd like a sugar-free vanilla latte with almond milk, not too much almond. Don't make it too hot. And I'm going to need make that 4 pumps, by the way, of sweetener. And I'm going to need an extra shot of espresso on the side and put 2 Splendas in that. Thank you.
Your podcast, Reemasculate. When did that start? How is what's the concept behind that podcast?
That started, man, I'm thinking, not sure the exact date, but probably 8, 9 years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago. And it started, Reemasculate, the point was that we need to bring that back. That started in a period when I was watching too many, and I always get hate mail on this. Remember the day there's a lot of single moms, and I'm not going against single moms because they do raise some good kids. But there was a whole thing about, just, picking them up if they start crying, that kind of stuff, or letting them play with their makeup because it's such, hey, we're just sitting here with mom. And I was like, that crap needs to stop. We need to get back to raising little boys. If they trip and fall on a skateboard, don't run out there and grab them and hug them. Go, get up, you little pussy. Your friends are laughing at you.
That's what my dad did.
You know what I mean? What that was, like
Yeah.
if you were playing little league baseball and a pitch hit you in the helmet, your mom didn't run out on the field and start yelling at the pitcher. Your dad was there to get it up, shake it off, get the dirt off of you. Now get back in the box. And that kind of
exactly.
Along with a bit that I used to do about little boys have to get hurt to realize life is hard. Move on. Because if you're babied constantly, you're expecting as an adult.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree completely. You and I cut from the same cloth. I mean, I'm from the Midwest. You were born in Oklahoma and raised in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's true. I was raised in Texas, and my dad, for quite a while, when I was a little kid, had a farm. We raised cattle, and so I was around the cowboy way. I mean, I was raised as a little kid about, watch out, don't walk behind a horse, do this. If you said you fix the gate, you better have done it because they're going to get out and get hit by a car. There was rules in life, and I don't think people are taught that way anymore.
How did your parents react when you started to do comedy? Because if you grew up on a farm, I mean, I would think that, and again, I'm just speculating here, that you were expected to kind of do the same thing, or were they totally cool with you going the route that you did?
Well, not totally cool, but I don't know if you knew this or not, but I went to college for art. I had an art scholarship, and I was going to be an artist. And my dad was like, "Oh, great. Well, you need a job you're going to have to fall back on because there's a lot of starving artists in the world." So like, yeah, I'm going to be. And then I got this whole attitude of I'm going to be an artist. And my dad would be like, "Well, I'll just have your mom sew up the hole on your underwear because you won't be needing that anymore." This kind of, it, my dad will walk by and try to clip my sister's ribbons in my hair. And my mom would be like, "Leave him alone." So my dad, as a big a redneck as I am, my dad was a bigger redneck.
That is so funny. But it sounds like he was like he had a sense of humor about it.
Oh, big time sense of humor. Like one of the jokes that I do in my act, that is from my dad. I mean, actually from my dad, and people are like, it's so politically incorrect now, which I really don't care, was when I got my ear pierced. And I didn't do it for years because I knew my parents hated it. I mean, they would just see people on videos. That looks so disgusting. Blah, blah, blah. And I finally got my ear pierced, and I came in I had a dangle, the 80s, a dangle earring. And my dad goes, "Earring?
Oh, yeah.
Only queers and pirates have earrings. There better be a boat out in my yard."
I swear you and I had the same father. We need to do like a 23andMe, some kind of a check. That sounds like something that would come right out of my old man's mouth.
Well, it may be the Irish. We got the Irish thing. My dad's side of the family was always that kind of, making fun of you and let's start a fight. They'll make fun of you because it's funny, but then it's going to end up turning bad.
Yeah, oh yeah, it'll turn bad. Well, now you come from an Irish background. You used to years ago. I mean, now I met you when you're sober. There was not a time when Steve McGrew was not sober.
Oh no, there was a yeah. Jack Daniels and I were like best friends. We used to run around together. I used to let him drive, but that was not a good thing at all.
No, it's a horrible idea.
And I know you've seen this before. I'm a Jack Daniels Squire. Where they give you 1 square inch of Lynchburg, Tennessee. You've heard about that, right?
No.
Yeah, look it up. I'm a Jack Daniels Squire.
Okay.
You have to be nominated by somebody who's already in, like, higher up than even I am. But they give you a card. It's an official card. You on 1 square inch of Lynchburg, Tennessee. There's a phone number for you to call if you're at a bar and you catch them not serving real Jack Daniels. And I'm surprised you're not one of them. And
I'm more of an Irish whiskey guy. I'm not a bourbon person. That is not my taste palette. Although a good buddy of mine, we went to a game the other night, and a hockey game here in Vegas, and I had a little bit of Jameson left in my glass, and he had snuck in a flask of bourbon, and he goes, "Hey, you want some?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he was dumping it. He goes, "Well, it's not Jameson," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, whatever." And so I put a little bit in there, so it was bourbon mixed with Jameson. And so I sipped it. I'm like, "Oh, this isn't bad." So we nicknamed it the Dublin Wife Beater.
That is so wrong. We just got in trouble for laughing at that. Somebody is taking this
I
little
know.
snippet right here.
Here we go. This is
Yeah.
going to be. This is the snapshot.
This is the career killer right here. Thank you.
That's it. Done. Dublin Wife
I-
beater. Steve McGrew. Derek Richards laughed at it.
When I was drinking, I created a drink because you mix what's in the house, like you said. You just kind of was a little bit of bourbon and a little bit of rum and some Dr. Pepper, and I called it the elephant fart because that didn't that sound like what ought to rum. It was bourbon and rum. So for a long time, my friends would go, "Are you going to make me an elephant fart?" "Yeah, let me get you an elephant." So it was my own little concoction.
Was there a point, like one particular episode that happened with you where you said, I got to quit?
Yeah, it was my I hadn't really screwed up too bad at work because I drank after the shows like most people do, So, but I was in my hotel. My son had just been born, and I was in my hotel room, pretty trashed, just laying there. And I thought it kind of dawned on me, man, what if I got a call right this second that something happened? Like, what if he had fallen out of bed and hit his head in the corner of a nightstand? I wouldn't even be able to get myself together to get on a flight to get home, or I wouldn't be able to make. So it dawned on me right there. I was like, this has just got to stop. I need to be an adult. And I thought, all right, I'm done. And I quit drinking for 3 days. I ended up in the hospital. I had DT shock. I went into DTs. And so
Wow.
I had to go dry out in a hospital. And that was it. I just never drank again. I was just done. And people don't really understand, like, you didn't do this. You didn't go to a place. You didn't. No, I just said, I don't drink anymore. And that's why I have a hard time when people always tell me that, hey, I have a disease, I have an allergy, no, you have pretty much a lack of willpower, because it's like anything else. Just don't do it. Just, no, I don't do
Right.
that. Thank you. My days were numbered. I retired undefeated. Thank you very much.
Well, you live. That's why you're undefeated. Was there any particular story that you look back on in your drinking days when you were thinking to yourself, now, I cannot believe that I didn't stop drinking then?
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of times where once I was sleeping on the side of the road in my car, and I got that knock, 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 and look up, there's a cop in my window. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to jail. And he goes, what are you doing? And I just said, I'm sleeping. I'm too drunk to drive, and I know it, so I'm just going to sleep it off. And he goes, I can arrest you because your keys are in the ignition. And I go, I didn't know that. I'm just trying not to, drive. And he goes, all right, throw your keys in the back seat. And he goes, I'm going to come back this way in 2 hours. If you're not here, I have your driver's license. And I'm like, I don't even know how to keep track of time right now. So anyway, nothing happened. I slept, and it was, next thing I know, it's daylight. And I thought, man, I should really quit. But it wasn't too long after that I did quit, because you start thinking little things like that, like, man, that could have been bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go back and you start replaying some of those stories, and there's some pretty brutal stuff. I mean, and I know I have friends of mine that have quit drinking, and they go to AA meetings and whatnot. It's like, whatever you got to do to, keep yourself on a level playing field. So it's, I mean, I have another good friend of mine in Chicago who quit drinking, and he just flat out quit, like you. And he hasn't had to go to any kind of a support group or anything like that. But I think, like I said, those groups are great for people that need to have that camaraderie amongst other people to kind of go, okay, cool. I'm not the only one in this, in this boat. And so it's, I give you all the credit in the world for being able to pull that off and having the willpower and, just focus on being able to not, fall back into that.
Yeah. Well, once you start living slightly, sober, you start thinking about, hey, man, I still got money in my pocket. Hey, I didn't go to the ATM 4 times last night. Hey, I'm not hungover. I think I am going to go fishing today. You start realizing there's a lot more life than just going, man, my head hurts. I think I might have had a good time last night.
You're right. The money you save and the weight you lose is dramatic once you make that change. Now, you spent time in radio while you were doing comedy as well. You were in country radio for a long time. Now, were you just in Denver doing this, or had you started off someplace else and ended up in Denver?
Well, I had been, when I lived in LA, I'd come to Denver to do shows, and I was a guest on the radio station. And when they got ready to look for somebody, they were like, "Hey, you know that comic that comes on here? You know, he's pretty funny. He likes country music. We should give him a call." So that's how the job offer came to me. And I got it. They gave me like a 6 months trial to see how it worked. And next thing I know, I got a CMA award. So I'm like, all right, I think I can do this. And I've always considered myself, like, as a comic, you know when to talk and when not to talk. And I think that's why I made a good sidekick. A lot of comics can't be a sidekick because they want to constantly talk. And I just want to chime in with the punchline, and then you know when to get out. Like, that was funny. Let's go to commercial.
No, that's great. I mean, and you're right, that's a skill set, because yes, a lot of times comics go on there and they just want to keep going because they hear any kind of quiet or dead space where something funny is not being said, and they can't let that sit there when it just needs to sit there.
Right. Just have a real conversation. And I always tried to go for things that even my program director said, through the headphones to the other DJs, let Mudflap ask a question, because I always had questions that were always like, what's your favorite tree? Or, when's the last time you vomited in the bushes? That was, I'd have somebody like, Burt Reynolds on for an interview, and they go, when's the last time you threw up in the bushes? And they'd be like, what? Or like one time I asked Shannon Sharp, one of the Denver Broncos, I go, is it ever weird to see a white guy in your jersey at the mall?
What did he say?
Just, No,
That's so funny.
Does he think he's you?
How did that unfold? Because you have, you're a strong personality. And you were telling me when we were working together not too long ago about a story where you had gone on the air and you'd said something, and it got all kinds of pushback. Do you remember that? There was something that you had said, and it was, and all of a sudden,
that might have
like
been
some listeners started calling in or whatever.
Part of the single mom thing, because I had a whole thing about America started going to crap when we started both parents working. I mean,
right?
Because something happens at a school now, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have psychologists on site tomorrow," and I go, "My mom was my psychologist." You came home from school, she made you a sandwich. She goes, "How was your day?" And you could tell her what a crappy day you had. I go, kids don't have that. And it was this whole thing I was doing about how we needed to get back to a period where somebody stayed home and raised your kids. And, you as soon as your kid's born, they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back to work." Well, why did you have a kid? You're going to put your kid in daycare. You're going to give your kid to a person you wouldn't leave your wallet with. So that got me in a lot of trouble, because people were calling and, "I'm a single mom and you've really upset me." And, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. Sometimes people, they don't want to hear truth. And it wasn't like bad mouthing. It was just saying, look, this is when things went wrong. How did we survive in a time where my mom stayed home and my dad worked, but we had one new car and one crappy old car, and we had one phone, and there wasn't a TV set in every bedroom, and none of us had new shoes until school started. And you know what I mean? We survived. There was a way to do it without feeling like, I don't have a big screen TV in my bedroom, and all my friends have a cell phone, and And this woman called up and she goes, "Well, we have bills. We have to work." I go, "No, you don't have bills. Bills don't magically appear. You create bills. You create the life that you have, and you can create any life that you want. But you can't just blame it on bills because you bought your kid a new Nintendo, a new TV to play it with, and you bought him a Ferrari on their 16th birthday.
Now, how was your co-host? Because you're sitting there, you're in the studio. I'm assuming this wasn't just you in the studio going off on this rant. Was your co-host looking at you and kind of trying to take the other side, or were they pulling the shut up, the hotline's going off, shut up? Well, and for people that don't know, in radio, the hotline is when that light goes off, that's usually from the general manager or the program director when you are screwing up. You never want the hotline to go off. So how was your co-host reacting when this was going down? Were they on your side, or were they kind of trying to play middle of the road?
A combo because I was the only real country person on the country station. That's why I ended up with the name Mudflap, and I'll tell you that in a second. But one of them being the female co-host is working with kids, and she's like, I'm working, and I go, and where are your kids right now? Do you have any idea what they're doing? It got that kind of exchange, and the male guy was like going, well, I don't know, I just you guys, blah, blah. He just got mumbly, kind of like, I don't want to get in on this. I don't need any of this on me.
Right. What cracks me up though
then when I got off,
and I was going to say
that basically what you said about the blinking light. Could you come see me? Could you come see me? And we had a female, station manager, and she was like, I was about ready to jerk you off the air.
Wow.
But I go, for what? What did I say that was wrong? Tell me anything that I said that was absolutely wrong. But it was the time.
Well, and it's also your opinion. I mean, that's what's missing. That's what's missing in radio today too, is personality. That's why you were hired. And listen, I mean, people can listen to you and they're in the car and they go, and they can look and go, yeah, I agree with this guy. Or they're going to go, oh, this guy's a knucklehead right now. But they've enjoyed listening to you for years and years. You've been in their car, you've been in their kitchen, you've been in their, earphones for such a long time. I mean, people can have opinions. You talk to somebody for any length of time, and over a certain extended period, people are going to say something that you're not going to agree with, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and you can look at him and go, man, you've always been a knucklehead, but we don't have to hate them about it. You know what I mean? But I think people think back 10 years ago or 11 years ago, we're a lot more as conservatives, and even the general public, we're a lot more aware of what they were doing to us. Because as conservatives, we've always been like, live and let live. I'm not getting involved with that. I don't care. I'll raise my family the way I want to. And then all this crap snuck up on us, what's happening right now. And I think there's a lot more. COVID made us realize, man, they are trying to destroy us. They are trying to destroy our society, our way of life. How come they can close the church, but the Walmart's open? That kind of thing. So I think what I was saying 10 years ago seemed very, but today people are like going, yes, we need to hear that. We need to hear that again.
No, I agree with you completely. You've had a long career in this business. And I had told you this years and years ago when I had started off, and I was probably only a few years in at the time, because I had started in 1993. And I remember working some clubs, and I was seeing your headshot on the old flyers that they used to stick in there. And then when I met you, and I'm like, this is not the same guy. So I'm going to pull up some pictures here, and I want you to identify some of these people, because you've had a fantastic career. So Sean, I'm going to have pull up these pictures here that Steve had sent over, because you've got okay, now first off, I know who you are in this picture. You tell everybody which one you are.
I am in the red, actually it was a pink jacket in the turquoise shirt. The color of the old picture doesn't look it, but it was a kind of a pink jacket with a turquoise shirt and a big black pompadour. It was very 1950s rockabilly.
Yeah, you had a very rockabilly look. So, I mean, looking at you then, and then when I met you the first time in Las Vegas, I'm like, is there another Steve McGrew out there? which was hysterical. So tell me about this picture. I know Tim Allen is in the picture with you. Who else? Do you remember all the people that are in that? Okay.
I'm trying to remember. Like Tim Allen's in the middle. Craig Shoemaker is up there. That's Craig leaning in with his arms crossed. Ken Weinstock, the producer, is right behind Tim. Ken was a great guy. Did a bunch of good stuff for Showtime. Lowell Sanders is in the corner with his head propped up.
Oh my God, that's Lowell. Oh my God, that's a fun. Oh man, I haven't seen Lowell in so many years. That is I couldn't think of who that was off the top of my head. It looked familiar, but yeah, Detroit comic, great guy.
Yeah. Now the other two in the picture, I can't remember, but the way we're filming this, there's a box blocking one guy, so I can't remember everybody there.
Okay, gotcha. Now this was what? This was the Showtime Comedy Club Network?
Yeah, Showtime Comedy Club Network. This was the All Stars. This was like the best of the series.
Okay, let's pull up another picture here. Okay, who is this?
There's me with the long blonde hair and the white shirt and arms crossed. This was
that's you looking like you. Gotcha.
This is my band, and we opened for George Jones. That's George right there with his hands on his wife Nancy's shoulder.
Okay. Oh, that's a great shot.
So that's all the guys that were in my band when I was at the radio station. We started a band so we could open all the shows that would come to town. We got to open for like Taylor Swift and it's an awesome idea. You know what? All you know is your chords, and you surround your guys that play really well.
Yes. Now the next picture here. Let's see who's on this one here. Let's flip it to the next one.
That was from the tour that I just did with Terrence Williams. That's Terrence Williams in the middle. And the guy on the other side, that's Chingo Bling.
Okay.
And Chingo Chingo Bling. He's doing great, man. He sells out everywhere he goes. He's a super nice guy, and one of us. He's like a Hispanic conservative.
Wow. That's fantastic. Let's pull up this next picture here too, and see if it's the one that I think is coming up. Let's see here. This shot. You sent this.
There you go.
What? This is awesome. This picture. I wish I could screen grab our show right now and see you in the lower left corner, and then this. You know what? You look like a bouncer in Roadhouse. When was this?
Theo Vaughn stole my look. I was doing the bad mullet long before Billy Ray Cyrus was doing the bad mullet. I mean, look at the sides; they're like shaved down. Like that's like a home mullet kit.
That is like if you were gonna instruct somebody how to do a mullet, I would show this picture. Like if you're gonna teach people at a salon how to do a mullet, this is exactly the this looks like a screen grab from an 80s movie. That jacket, please tell me you still have that jacket.
Actually, I do have the jacket. I couldn't find the tie. I still have that shirt too. That's one of the things my wife complains about because I hold on. I'm not a hoarder because I don't find dead animals behind boxes, but I do hold on to everything because I always like, man, I wore this jacket on Showtime, or I wore this shirt on Star Search, or I wore this. So I try to save all that stuff. Like I have this thing in my head. One day I'll be a star, and they're going to need this for a museum.
Your own little Hard Rock Cafe, the Steve McGrew Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, well, honestly, when I was a DJ here in Denver, the Country Bar actually wanted to do a mud flap museum. We talked about it. They had an open room that they didn't do anything with, and the owner knew that I had all this stuff because he was in the band with me. He played in that band with George Jones and I, and he was like, "We should start a mud flap museum. We'll just hang some pictures of your Western shirts when you did something on TNN, and we'll have And it never happened, but I would have loved that.
That's hysterical. Now, you spent time working with Dolly Parton, and I want to pull up this picture of you with her. What I've heard nothing but amazing things about her as a performer, as a business person, and as a human. How did this relationship start?
This was awesome. Look at that hair. It's almost takes away from her, doesn't it?
Let's not push it, but yeah, it takes away from her. It takes away from her as if like 9/11 was happening behind her.
Oh, okay. Well, here's how this went down. I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I was hanging out at the Improv. Hanging out. I wasn't even going to do a set. And somebody didn't show up, and they said, "Do you want to go up and do some time?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to." So I go up, do some time. As I'm leaving the stage, this lady comes running up to me with her card. "I work for Dolly Parton. We're about to go on tour. You would be perfect." And she handed me this card. And next thing I know, I'm opening for Dolly for a year on the whole tour. And Dolly really, she liked me a lot. This was great. I even have a mention in her book, her autobiography. But she said, "Anybody ever told you look like Elvis?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I get that a lot, but it's more of a rockabilly thing." And she goes, "Can you sing?" And I go, "Well, I used to sing in a band in high school. I can pull off." So she had me sing Elvis with her in her show. I opened the show with stand-up, and then I came back out dressed as Elvis with a collar about this high, like a comedy Elvis outfit, and a belt buckle about this big. And I sang Hound Dog with her. And so it was really cool,
That had to be so incredibly surreal. That's a great picture, by the way, Sean. Thank you so much. How was that? I mean, you meet her the first time. She's a legend.
And let me tell you my meeting story.
Go ahead.
Here's my meeting story. If this couldn't have gone any worse. We're at a hotel. I've never met her before. We're told to be out in front of the hotel at a certain time. The bus will be there. Get on the bus. We'll take you to the venue. So I'm actually running slightly late, not even a lot late, minute or two. And I run out and I bang on the door of the bus, and the door opens up, and I jump on the bus, and it's Dolly. Dolly's just sitting there. My bus had already left. It was the band bus. And now Dolly was "Well, you must be my new comic. You must be," like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry. No, sit down. You can have a ride." I had just not even been introduced, and now I'm banging on her door like, "Give me a ride." But she was super nice, and I even talked to her. She had a new song that had just come out with Ricky Van Shelton, and I told her I liked the song a lot, and she goes, "Well, I recorded it with George Jones, but they thought George was a little too old, so they wanted to put me with one of the new artists." And I'm like, "Damn, that's so wrong. George is one of the best singers in the whole world." And we kind of bonded right there,
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about her. What do people not know about Dolly Parton?
She is exactly as she appears. I mean, honestly, she's super nice. She'll sign autographs. One of the things that I learned from her, she always goes, your fans are why you're here. Always be nice to your fans. And she would sign autographs, but she goes, "Walk with me. Just keep walking. Because if you stop, they surround you. But if you're just moving, like, no, I'm getting in my car, I'm driving off." Always be nice. And I think I told you this, but when I opened for her at the Mirage, we were there for like a week. My parents came out to meet her, and she walked by the room. She'd never met my parents before. She looked in. She goes, "Oh, who's this?" And she comes in, sits down, talks to my mom and dad, just like really just super nice, normal conversation. Then my mom and dad, about 2 days later, go, "We ran into Dolly in the casino." She comes over and goes, "Nell, Dan, how y'all doing?" She remembered their names and talked to them. So that's the kind of person she is.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I've a mutual friend of ours, David Lucas, works for Dolly over at. He runs her Pirates Adventure show in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's part of her empire, and I've talked to him countless times, and he just says that she is just one of the most amazing people ever.
Yeah, I always think, the country, so one of the things I found from country music, being around that, is the country artists are a lot more down-to-earth people than rock stars. Because I've met them
Right.
too. And, some of them are really nice, but country guys are always like, oh, gosh, thank you. I sing. I had a band in high school. I got lucky. They're like that. But you talk to some of the rock stars, they're like, yeah, get out of my way, yeah. So I think there's a difference in attitude between, the aw shucks and where's my entourage?
Steve McGrew, SteveMcGrew.com. The album is Toxic Masculinity. Grab a copy of it. Also, the podcast Reemasculate. Check that out. A couple of random questions as we wrap up the episode here.
Sure.
Totally out of the blue. These will make no sense, but here we go. When's the last time you threw up in the bushes?
That would be November the 16th, 1988.
Okay. Your favorite tree?
That would be an aspen tree because the leaves move and it looks like they're just shaking with fear.
Okay. The next three questions I want you to answer as Liberal Larry, the character that you do. So I know you've got your Liberal Larry hat nearby.
All right.
There we go. This, by the way, you've got to check out Steve's social media stuff on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, I'm assuming all these videos are on YouTube as well, correct, sir?
They are.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Oh, so thanks for having me on the show. I've heard bad things about you, but I don't believe them. I like to look for the best in people.
Okay, as Liberal Larry, Daddy.
Yes.
Why is mommy crying?
She heard Trump on Fox News. That's why. You need to turn that off. That should be considered abuse. Anybody that plays Fox News in the car around their children, that should be child abuse. You should be turned over to Child Protective Services. That's like secondhand hate in the car.
Next question, Larry. Kids, I don't need drugs to get high. I'm high on blank.
I'm high on chai tea. Have you ever snorted chai tea? A lot of people actually put it in the liquid. But no, if you just do lines of chai tea, it burns like the real thing, and you don't get arrested for it. That's a little tip.
Last question, Larry. While the United States raced the Soviet Union to the moon, the Mexican government funneled millions of pesos into research on blank. One more time. While the United States... Ladders? Okay. Steve, you're awesome, man. I can't thank you enough. People need to go on your website, SteveMcGrew.com. Find out when he's coming to a comedy club near you. Also, see you out there on the ships again, my friend, on Royal Caribbean. Hopefully, we'll cross paths again here soon. Always such a good time hanging out with you.
Thank you. And look at this. Look how my scarf actually almost blends in with the rainbow behind me. Look at that. Can you see that? I thought that was my scarf for a second. I was trying to touch it, but it's a poster behind me. Look at that.
You need a lot of counseling, which is why I love you. SteveMcGrew.com. The album Toxic Masculinity, the podcast Reemasculate. Subscribe. Find him on YouTube. Steve McGrew, you're awesome, buddy. Thanks so much.
See you.
Steve McGrew here on A Drink with Derek. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here today. Again, all the episodes are available on YouTube, also wherever you grab your podcasts, on iTunes. Again, huge thanks to our sponsor, VegasSportsAdvantage.com. You're going to bet sports, use your head, and save some money. Promo code Derek35. Save 35% on any of the packages that they offer. Could be a small package, could be a big package. Save yourself some dough. If you're going to bet sports, go to my friends at VegasSportsAdvantage.com. The album Double Down Available on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon. Also, check out the Irish Comedy Tour coming to the East Coast, the Northeast predominantly, and then also down in Florida. Excited to have Patrick Garrity and Michael Malone on. Check out our special on Amazon Prime. Also, all the other platforms, Dish, iTunes, Vudu, Vimeo. I believe it's on Tubi as well. And I'm going to be in Traverse City on Friday and Saturday, January 28th and 29th at the Traverse City Comedy Club. Just go online, Google Traverse City Comedy Club, and you'll find out all the magic. And you can also hit me up and go online, find my website, DerekRichards.com, to get all the information. Once again, thanks for checking out the podcast, A Drink with Derek. This is Derek Richards. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
You're watching Conservative Television of America, working hard to stick socialism where the sun don't shine.